I'm going to either win 388 games or I'm going to win 389. Neither one of them throw me over the hump or nothing. Unless something happened to Joe today. Anything happened to Joe today?
Offense, control the line of scrimmage. Be dominant. Communicate up front. Dominate with our size and athleticism. Ain't no time now to worry about what the outcome is. Don't look at the scoreboard. One play at a time. From the first play to the last play.
Need a horn and a drum roll.
I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th inches.
Now it's time to go to work. Season's over. It's a different time. I told you they remember November. Well, December's our time. December's we do what we do. That's Florida State time. We're back where we belong.
Let's get it on. Need a horn to break it down. Turn up, yeah!
I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th inches.
Just change.
right now.
I'm going to either win 388 games or I'm going to win 389. Neither one of them throw me over the hump or nothing. Unless something happened to Joe today. Anything happened to Joe today?
I got a bust like John Madden, baby. Coach, 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 coach. I got a bust like John Madden,
Offense, control the line of scrimmage. Be dominant. Communicate up front. Dominate with our size and athleticism. Ain't no time now to worry about what the outcome is. Don't look at the scoreboard. One play at a time. From the first play to the last play.
need a horn and a drum roll.
I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Coach, 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 coach.
Now it's time to go to work. Season's over. A different time. I told you they remember November. Well, December's our time. December's we do what we do. That's Florida State time. We're back where we belong.
Let's get it on. Need a horn. Break it down. Turn up, yeah!
I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sat on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Mic check, mic check. I should have kept the other part up so I can check the sound. Give me 1 second. Make sure my sound's good. Make sure it. Okay, sounds good. Video's good. We looking good. What Prime say? Look good, feel good, play good. We looking good. As you see, my state. Yeah, you see my state. My new shirt I got while I was down. I bought it at the game. Check out my shirt I bought at the game. So we looking good. Obviously, we feeling good. Gentleman Jack on deck. So we about to play good tonight. What is going on? It is your boy POLK, a.k.a. A.Lo, a.k.a. the Got Damn Truth. And here we are. The bar is open. It's Saturday night. And the news just continues to pile up. We just continue to get good news after good news. And This might be the biggest news of the offseason, quite frankly. If I'm being honest, this was the announcement I was waiting on, and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to do what I want to do tonight is I want to do a way too early look at this depth chart because I'm going to be disclaimer. This depth chart, this roster, I don't believe it's done yet, y'all. I don't believe it's done yet. You're still going to have the spring surge. So expect the portal to continue to be a factor up until summer, fall. I'm telling you, I don't think this roster is complete yet. But we're gonna do a way too early look at this. Way too early look at this depth chart, man. Because why not? It's fun. It's January. You know, we won our bowl game, so we're gonna do all of that. But before we do that, we are gonna have I see if he's still coming on. As a matter of fact, I need to send him the link. We'll have Chris from Sporadics. He wants to come on and shed some stuff. So I have no issue with that. He wants to come on here and talk a little bit with some NIL stuff. The coaching search, as you know, the DB coaching search and how's that looking. So he'll shed some light because as we all know, I am just a light-skinned dude on YouTube. I don't know anything. I get out here, I speculate, I predict, I guess, but I don't know anything. So we'll talk to somebody who maybe has a little bit more knowledge than I do. But before we do all of that, y'all already know the deal. Let's pay these bills. Hit my like button. Subscribe in case you are new around here. Share the video. Let everybody know we are live. The bar is open. It is Saturday night open bar. It's open. What are you drinking? Drinks are on me tonight. I saw Tyler say he's on Miller Lite. Usually when I drink beer, I'm not drinking Miller Lite, but I ain't mad at you. I do what you do. So you let me know what y'all drinking. And free drinks is on me. And always, let's hit a quick roll call. And then let's get the show started. So I got Priscilla Chestnut in the building. Adangbe, Rock Frazier, T. Murray, Peter Shields, member of the 863 Tribe. Excuse me. Hannah Snick, Raymond, Island Boy, Zach, Jamal M, J. Noel, Kendrick Ross, member of the 863 Tribe. Brandy Franklin, No Squad, VJ, member of the 863 Tribe. Tyler, member of the 863 Tribe. Loading, Vontae, member of the 863 Tribe. Florida State Love, member of the 863 Tribe. Jonathan, Black Shear, Brain Tick, Let's Get It. Lewis P, Zoe, Zuki, The Land, Ray Fitty, Panama Jack, Zach, y'all showing out here tonight. Peter Shields, member of the 863 Tribe. Anthony Cheers, RD, D Thompson. And look, if I miss you, I'm sorry. Keep on commenting, keep on coming in here and dropping the comments. One more announcement before we get started. I do owe y'all another giveaway, which I plan on doing. So if you're not a member of the 863 Tribe, you might want to join up. I think I'm gonna do something. So beginning of the year, I did a hat. I think I forgot who. I think who won that? I think VJ won that. Not you, VJ. I forget who won it. But somebody won it, and I forgot who won it. Two people actually won it, but Boxing Monster didn't want to give me his information, which is fine. I think for this one, I'm gonna do something off of Hakeem Williams. I don't know what you call it, his store or whatever. I think I'm gonna buy, like I did it's like last year we did the 3rd and 13 or third and fourth and 14, whatever the shirt. The Jordan Travis shirt, I gave one of those away. I'm gonna do something off of Hakeem Williams stuff this time. So we'll do that. But let's not waste any more time, man. And let's bring Sporadics, a.k.a. Chris, in the building, and let's see what good news he might have to share for us tonight. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Pretty excited about all the news that's dropping. Like you said earlier in the show, this is by far the best day of the off season so far. I don't know if we'll up it or not. I highly doubt it because Jared Verse is a huge piece to come back. So, but doing pretty good. Just excited for this. It's weird to say that I'm excited for the off season, but I am.
Oh, because this off season is going to be like an off season we haven't had. I said it, I think on the last show I did. This off season is going to be very similar to that 2017 off season when we were preparing for Bama in game 1. There's going to be a lot of hype, a huge amount of expectations, and a lot of it's deserved and warranted. So I think it's going to be a fun off season for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully the season goes better than the 2017 season.
Yeah.
But yes, I do see this being a very similar year to that. I did want to ask, and James would probably have my head if I didn't ask this question. Did you have a good time at the tailgate?
Oh yeah, man, we had a blast. Yeah, we had a ball. Like I don't know if you know, but I had lost my voice. Like I didn't even have a voice by the end of that thing. I could barely talk. So, but we had a good time at the game, at the tailgate. Absolutely.
I do have a quick question because someone asked me on a text, how do they join the 863 Seminole Tribe?
If you if you go down to where you can do like a super chat, there should be an option to not send a super chat and just like, we got a new member right now. Jay Knoll just became a member. Same way you would do a super chat, you can do it like that. And it should say just become a member or whatever. So
Gotcha. Well,
shout out to Jay for becoming a new member. Good to see you. And as all the new I treat you just like a super chat. So let's get a video out of here real quick.
I'm in Tallahassee, I'm with the Seminoles. I've been getting to this paper, focus on my goals. Trying to run this money up and pull up in a row. All this talking gangster, that shit getting old.
All right, Chris, what you got for us tonight? What are you sharing?
I wanted to bring up just how well Battle's End's doing for Florida State.
A hell of a job. And
it's not only what they've done, but it's actually what they're doing and what's coming. That's really significant and cool. Not only for the university, but really cool for the fans that'll be coming. I won't blow their announcement because they haven't got to announce it yet, but the fans are fixing to get something really cool from Battle's End as well. They did throw a block party at the bowl game, which I think they let a few members know what was going to take place this year. But the really cool thing that Battle's End's doing is obviously paying the guys to stay or more or less not leave, give them a good reason to come back and develop more instead of going to the NFL too early. Do I think Jared Verse would have been too early into the NFL? No, but I think he could benefit from this year. But Battle's End is doing such a phenomenal job that I think the 2024 class, and not just because of Battle's End, but they're helping tremendously. I think that the 2024 class will be in the top 8, and I'm making that prediction really, really soon. I think there'll be a top 8, possibly a top 5 class, but I'm going with top 8. And it's based off of, you know how they tell us to follow the visits, and you say it all the time. I hear you say it.
Yeah.
Well, follow the kids that are putting us in their top 10. All the 5 stars that are putting us in the top 10.
I've seen that. I saw that new the 5-star from South Florida athlete. I forget his name, but I know he said us in Ohio State were 1 and 2.
Yep.
What's his name? I forget his name. For the people, I forget his name. You
Don't
forgot his
get
name
me-
too.
Don't get me wrong. But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yes, he's one of them. And then, you got Cam Davis as well out of Georgia that obviously is committed to Florida State that Georgia's fixing to throw the house at. I mean,
yeah.
they're fixing to throw the mansion and the car dealership at him. But it's not second to what Battle's End has done. Battle's End's done something with Cam Davis that I don't know if a lot of people are going to be able to compete with. Plus, Cam has a great relationship with Yak. So it's being able to get the guys that are verbally committed to Florida State to stay that way. But what's really cool is the guys that they're bringing in the next few months. The visits that get to start happening are going to say a lot. I can't wait to hear your perspective on it. To be completely honest, I like when I get to hear, because here's the thing. You say you don't know anything, but you got a gut feeling. So you've been doing this for a while. So you get a gut feeling about Falk. I told you that I thought Falk was going to stay. And you said you had a gut feeling that Falk was going to jump to Auburn. And sure enough, he went to Auburn. Surprised me because everything that I'd been told by him was that he was going to stay. So I'm listening to you on the gut feelings from here on out because I really didn't question that kid. I really thought he was going to be here. But some really big things are going to be happening for Florida State as far as the 24 class goes. And I heard a little bit about what you said before I got to come on. Florida State's by far not done with this roster.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
And if you already start comparing this roster compared to even last year, how many key pieces were just brought in? The roster is uplifted. It's got a facelift is what I should say. And I wanted to ask you a question, to be honest. If you were to say there was a room on the team that needs improvement, would you agree with me and say that it's the DB room, or do you feel like another room's in more trouble?
Yeah, I think I said this a week or so ago, but yeah, I think the DB room could use another 2 bodies. One for sure. But I think if you look at the entirety of this team, that's probably the weak link. I would say that's probably the weak link, even with Cypress.
Yeah.
I just think the safety position, I know we're getting Dent back, and I know Shaheen played well in spurts, but he wasn't a full-time starter, so I'm interested to see how he makes that transition. But if you actually watch last year, man, number one, Jaquez McClellan played a lot of plays for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if we don't have the same depth at safety that we had last year, and it concerns me. So, yeah, I would say the DB room is the weakest link on the entire team. Not even just the defense, but the entire team.
And I'm, obviously in 100% agreement. And I was telling people we had a huge Twitter space today that went for almost 3 hours. Or no, it went for 2 hours, excuse me. And I was telling people that, a lot of the fans are worried about who we get in the transfer portal right now. And you actually get better players in the spring because they're figuring out where their team's at. A lot of them think, okay, well, it's because they're not going to start, so why they're hitting the transfer portal. That's not always true. A lot of times it's the fact that they realize that the team isn't going in the direction that they really expected it to. So then they feel like, I need to move to a team that I know is going to be a winner. Florida State finishing the season with 10 wins and on the trajectory that they're on, everybody wants a piece of that winner. But that kid that you were talking about was KJ Bolden, that the 5-star athlete out of South Florida, I think.
That's his name?
KJ Bolden.
I don't remember his name, but
let me see if you can see this.
Okay, yeah, I see it. That's him?
That's him.
Okay.
So he put us in the top 15, and there was a couple others. And what I want to say to you is I want people to pay a lot of attention to Cam Davis because a lot of kids are going to follow him. And I really mean that. There's a lot of kids that are wanting to play his 7v7 team that want to follow him to wherever he goes. So Cam's going to be a big recruiter for us if we land him.
Well, I'm very interested to see what they do because I'll be honest, when Battles End introduced themselves, they made it very clear that the initial focus was on retention. And they've knocked retention out of the park. Every key player at FSU basically needed to come back has came back. We knew Jamie wasn't coming back. He probably had the highest. I mean, I think Verse has the highest maybe draft potential. But like I was trying to tell people, those mock drafts are for fans. What he was probably getting back was more of what I was saying. He's probably more of a second-round guy because he's very as great as a player as Verse is, great as an athlete as he is, He's still very unpolished. He's got work to do with his technique and just expanding his moveset as a pass rusher, especially for the next level. So it's not a bad thing that he's coming back. And I think Verse got some of that feedback, maybe along with some other things, which is why he's coming back for this year. Because I think if he puts together another big year, I think he's a legit top 15 guy next year. Where I did not believe that, regardless of what the mocks were saying, right? I didn't believe that. But we knew Jamie was going. We were questioning about Verse. Everybody else, man, they've gotten the. I'm waiting for that Julian Armella battles in to come next. That's the only guy that I need to see next. But they've knocked out retention out of the park. So I gotta believe once I would say spring or summer hits, the gear should be focused to now acquiring talent. And I'm interested to see how they attack the high school ranks with that. I am interested to see what they do. And if what you're saying is any indication, Florida State fans might be indeed very happy. Battles End is done a great job. I can't say anything bad about them. And I don't say anything about any collective, but some of these collectives, they you don't see the work maybe initially. But Battles End, man, they came out swinging. So I'm all for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, I removed myself from a collective because they kept saying that they were doing these things and they never came to fruition. I never saw the proof.
Right.
We kept bringing them people. We kept bringing fans. We kept bringing, the things that we could do as social media goes. We did everything that we were supposed to do. I brought them over 70 some odd athletes from the football team, brought them 5 from the softball team, 4 from the men's basketball, 3 from women's basketball, the entire track and field men's and women's team. And there was nothing happening. I mean, I was getting you all these kids and getting you what you asked for. And then we were talking about some of the smallest things being done for them. And I'm like, that's not what we were told was going to happen. So unfortunately I had to separate myself from that.
I'm glad you bring it up. Like you don't have to burn any bridges or call them out. I'm not going to ask you to do that, but I'm glad you bring that up because like, again, I can't praise Battles End enough because one of the first things they did when they came out and says, we don't need a dime for you. Just watch how we work, and then you be the deciding factor. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, when you do ask for a dime, take my money because you've proven like I said, proof's in the pudding with them. So,
yes.
And some of these other guys, some of these other collectives, they're asking for donations every week. But like you said, where's the results? We're not seeing anything,
Right.
So.
No, you're 100% correct. And that's, I think what Battles End has done as far as not only how they set up the company itself, but how they did the approach first. Let us show you what we can do before we ask you to do anything.
Right.
And that's going to go such a long ways. And I think that they're going to be the one that stands the test of time. They'll be around for a very long time because of how they're doing it. And Ingram, connecting those boosters and connecting those people that needed to be in there was, I mean, I can't say enough about what he's done and what he's doing right now. I wished I could break this news. I wish I could tell what's coming because it's so big for the university, not just us as fans, but it's really huge for everybody that's involved. So Ingram's just a really cool guy, and I think he does a good job. But I'm not taking anything away from the collective I was with. It just wasn't going in the direction that I thought it was going to go in. It started focusing on things that I didn't think were important. Is the reason why I took a step back and stepped away from it. But not to talk about that too much because that's a little bit more negative stuff, and I don't want to get on that realm. But I will ask this question: you obviously was at the bowl game. You came to the tailgate. You absolutely were voiceless after it was over because I saw your video after.
Yeah.
I was really concerned with we had 15 practices, and we came out. It looked like we were extremely flat. So that kind of worried me as far as our offense went. Did you feel like our offense was off for the most part of the first half, or were we missing on things because of what Oklahoma was doing well?
Oklahoma, they were determined to not let us run the ball. So they took that away. So as far as what Oklahoma did, that's what they did. They said, you're not running the ball. And we didn't. We had plays, though, in that first half in the passing game that we just didn't make. And that might be because of flat, being flat. Bowl games usually kind of go, even kind of the lesser bowl games, but usually you get flat teams, depending on where the game's at, teams go out and they have a good time. Yeah, in that first half, I thought we came out flat on the offensive side of the ball. But I think you got to give Oklahoma credit because for a team that isn't good at stopping the run, they made a point to stop the run.
Yeah, it was, that's like I've told multiple people, I was extremely emotionally invested in Trayshawn Ward. And for him to enter the transfer portal, me being so emotionally invested, it really bothered me to see him enter the transfer portal. But at the same time, I completely understand why he's moving on to do something different because he needs that 20-25 carries a game so that he can be a top draft pick. He's already got a little bit of size that's going to be an issue for him in the NFL. He's not the fastest guy, so he needs to be able to show as much and showcase as much talent as he can. And he feels like with the system that Norvell run, which we love as fans, maybe as I want to be running number one running back, you can't get all the carries that you want. So I tell people this as much as I can. I'm just as emotionally invested in some of these kids as the fan base is, but we had seen where when he entered the transfer portal, I don't know how much of this you saw, but we saw a bunch of people go after Norvell's job again. And I'm like, guys, we can't go after their job every time somebody decides to transfer.
Because of Ward?
Yes.
I didn't see that, but probably because I intentionally avoid stupid stuff like that, bro.
Yeah.
So
we try to, but we have a multitude of people that I'm probably making a mistake when I try to answer each and every person that writes me, and I try to. But when they all come at me with the same question, I try to get at least 10 or 15 of them that I know talk to each other. I try to get them to calm down because it's them that's spreading the whole negativity about Norvell needs to go because of this or that. My question is do you feel like he has to hire a DB coach on the outside, or that he would be safe with bringing a guy up from the inside?
That's another conversation that I had. I think I had it. Did we talk about this? We might have talked about this week. I think I talked about this past Tuesday. And it's again, to me, it's a stupid conversation. I won't call it a stupid conversation, but it's a stupid criticism. Like, people were like, oh my God, he's going to hire from inside. I'm like, well, I think he should look from outside at first. I think if you can look for, if there's a big fish available or who's willing to listen, and I still think you can add another ace recruiter on this staff.
Yes.
You go for it. But I would not be upset. And one of the things I pitched was like, maybe you hire Corey Fuller or Ratliff from within and bring over a Greg Reed as a GA if that's possible or something like that. I mean, that might not be possible, but that's just me throwing stuff out there. Greg Reed has continued to voice his, he wants to get into coaching. He wants to not only get into coaching, he keeps saying he wants to come back to Florida State. This might be a little funny, but who else better to relate to these kids than the guy that got kicked off the team for smoking weed? Like, I think he can relate to these kids at a minimum. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I would definitely not be mad about an inside promotion, but I do think you got to circle the wagon, so to speak, on the outside. See if you can pull a big name out there if it's possible. Like, I heard DVD. I don't know how possible that is, but apparently it's like a real deal thing that they're maybe trying to push for. I wouldn't be mad about it. Guys recruited well at Georgia. Hell, he's recruited well at Miami for them as well. So yeah, if you can get a guy like that, then I'm for it. I'm for it. If not, I'm not mad at the inside promotion either, though.
Yeah, and what I've told a lot of people that I want personally is because of your Adam Fuller and Atkins is a different. That's a different beast within itself. He is a hell of a recruiter. On top of he's a coordinator, but I don't think Adam Fuller is the top key recruiter for the defense. I think that's why they brought Randy Shannon in. But I think that you hire your DB coach or your position coaches to be the recruiters for you. They need to be top recruiters because of the lack that Adam Fuller does have in recruiting. I like Adam Fuller. I'm a fan of his, but I don't think he recruits that well.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair criticism of Adam Fuller.
I think he's a hell of a game day plan coach. I think he plans the defense well. I think he puts together a good scheme, but I don't think that he necessarily has all the tools that he needs to do some of the things that he wants to do with the defense he's running. So my big pitch is go get Crow, which is Antonio Cromartie. I know you know that, but if there's someone listening that don't know who Crow is.
I would love Crow too.
And I think you bring Crow on as the DB coach, and you hire Reed as a defensive analyst, so both of them can go after these kids.
There you go.
And that was my opinion. I dropped a video on the Spiratics channel for them just about Cromartie, why I wanted him to be the DB coach, and I didn't realize how many fans did not.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want that.
Yeah,
they don't want that.
And I was very surprised. I thought that more people would be for it. And there were quite a few that were for it, don't get me wrong. But I was very surprised at how many people were against it. But the guys that are on my show, like James Coleman, he likes the idea if we're going to promote from within that we promote Moss from within. He's a defensive analyst right now. And he thinks he's a lot like DVD is in Miami, that he could recruit just as well because him being able to speak the lingo to the kids now, and that he's already played he's played the game for and done well. So I agree. I like DVD myself. I think he's the second guy I would go for if I don't get Crow. But everybody was really high on going and getting the gray guy from South Carolina, and then South Carolina heard that. Immediately, they heard that Florida State was looking for him to be the DB coach at Florida State, and they gave him a 2-year extension immediately. So,
that's how these things work. A lot of these coaches are just playing the contract game. So sometimes these guys that you hear that get mentioned in these coaching searches, they're not even real candidates, but they know if I put my name in there, my school will give me a raise. They'll break the check for me. So,
do you feel like, because this is what I asked a couple of people, and I have a little bit of a better feel for it than most. But do you think that maybe Ratcliffe or Moss, that's already on the staff, or even Corey Fuller, if you was to move them up to the DB coach, do you think that they've already been trying to recruit at their highest level, that they've been trying to help that situation, or they've been holding that in their back pocket for this possibility?
Well, I think I tweeted something of this nature, but I think they've been doing their best. I think, however, when like these young men, we call them kids, but these young men, they're not dumb. And I don't want to down talk Woodson that much, but from all reports or, whatever, Woodson wasn't really all invested in everything anyway. There was a lot of talk of he not getting along with certain people, and a lot of people feel like Woodson had a foot out the door anyway. Well, kids feel that. Kids aren't dumb. They can feel tension. They can feel the room just like an adult can.
Yeah.
And I think regardless of what their best recruiting efforts may have been, when you feel that, you don't, you might love a school, but recruiting is way more about relationships maybe now than it's ever been. Kids don't really commit to programs anymore. They commit to coaches and relationships. So I just think when you know that the guy maybe don't really want to be there, why would you want to go play there? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
But I think those guys, to answer your question directly, I don't believe those guys were holding anything back. I just think there was other things working not in their favor. And when you get guys who now are completely invested in that position, you might see the uptick in recruiting that you need to see.
So I really appreciate that answer. And I know I'm on your show asking you questions, but
It's all good.
the reason that I'm doing so is because I'd laid out something very similar to this. And just like Tyler asked at the bottom of my screen, he said, why would you hold that back? And that was my immediate answer as well. Why would you hold that back? But they were really worried that someone was holding back. And I told them there would be no reason to hold back. And I told them the same reasons that you just did, that they could read the room, and they really noticed that Woodson has been kind of halfway out the door since June, because he kind of had the feeling that he knew he wasn't getting an extension. His contract wasn't getting renewed. So I feel like he was already on the move to, whether it be Arkansas or wherever else he was talking to. But I don't feel like he was recruiting DBs at the highest level when he knew he was on his way out. Kind of the same way Jimbo Fisher did when he knew he was leaving, at a smaller magnitude, but still
Right.
at a magnitude that is very well known. But what I will say is I think I'm going to trust Coach Norvell with either decision that he makes, whether he goes from within or if he hires from outside. I personally want him to hire from outside because I think it could put a huge stamp on. I told people today I want them to hire the Savage.
Yeah, that's what good word.
I want the Crow because Crow is a savage. I think he will speak his mind. He will catch the attention. Dogs attract dogs, man. That's why they are a dog pack. So if a dog goes in there to recruit a kid, then they're going to be attracted to him because he is a dog. So they want to be a part of that pack. And I don't know that we have anyone on the staff that's considered that dog. So that's why I want Crow or someone like that to come onto the staff. Because, like I said, I think Fuller has a good scheme. I just think he needs a couple more tools in that backfield, especially to be able to perform at a high level.
I think we got two dogs. I just think one of them isn't an on-field coach, and I don't know if he will ever be one. I don't know what's his projection, but that was it, Derek Ye guy or whatever.
Derek
Ray, he's a monster. Every big recruitment he's a part of, and of course we know who the other guy is.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely need more guys. At least get me at least one guy on the defensive side of the ball. JP's good, but he's not that level. But JP's really good, but he's not that level. We need a guy at that level on the defensive side of the ball.
I definitely agree with you 100%. And that's why I think it's so important that your DB coach, now that that's the one that you need to hire, and that's the reason why you go get that Savage, is because it's so needed on the defensive side of the ball because it's not there. You got Alex Atkins on the offensive side.
Right.
And he's going to continue to do what he's doing. He's not – everybody thinks he's only getting offensive linemen. He actually was a good relationship builder for Hakeem Williams, and a lot of people don't know that. Dugans did a phenomenal job with Hakeem, first and foremost. I will give him all of the props in the world for that because he finally did a supreme job to what I had seen him do in the past. And now that I think that other coaches got to see what that blueprint looks like, how hard you have to work to get that 5-star kid, now everybody's like, oh, I have to up my game because it seriously takes a lot of effort to get this 5-star kid here.
You can't say anything bad about Dugans, as he's the only guy that's recruited a 5-star. So, like, you know, you can't say anything bad about Ron. Let me ask you a question because I keep seeing it in this name. Do you know anything on Daryl? What's going on with Daryl Jackson? Is he going? Is he coming?
So what I told people about Daryl Jackson is yes, it's true that Miami is making a last ditch effort and offering him more money to stay at Miami, and I want people to take into account all of these things and above. Okay, so first and foremost, you're getting offered more money to stay. You are going to be a starter if you stay at Miami.
Oh, he was arguably their best guy.
Yes, if you come to Florida State, you're a rotational piece.
Definitely. If you're not a starter if he comes to Florida State.
No.
He's not starting over Fable. He's not starting over Fisk.
No, and I don't know if he'll start over Io, to be completely honest. And that's just me saying that.
Okay.
So, and I still don't think that's deterring him from coming because he doesn't start. What I'm saying is the biggest thing that I think lingers over his head is from my knowledge, he's already transferred once. If he transfers to Florida State, being within inside of the same conference, he has to get a waiver approved to play for this year.
Right.
And I think he's not at ease because he doesn't know for 100% fact that he will get that waiver approved, and he may have to sit, and that's going to be extremely hard on him if he has to sit. So I think that's why the options are being weighed so hard on whether he comes or goes. And there's a reason why people are saying until Monday, because they'll get a better feel by Monday if the NCAA will give him a waiver or not.
Okay.
If he was just going to stay at Miami, he would have already just came out and said it. But he's literally in the limbo right now of do I go or do I stay? Because everybody needs to remember the reason why he said he wanted to go is to be closer to his mom because she wasn't doing well.
Right.
So is money enough to get you to stay and still be that far away from mom? Because I don't think that it is. I don't think the money is the problem because I think Battles In will make sure that he gets paid because we want him. He committed verbally. But now it's supposedly they offered him some money. Money is not the reason why he would stay. I think it's the waiver is the entire decider on this fact.
Well, I have to believe that the NCAA would approve his waiver. But
A lot of people thought they were going to approve football too, but
yeah, you can never put any faith in the NCAA, so that does make some sense.
and I think you're right. I mean, I personally believe that the NCAA would look at his situation and approve it due to his mom is ill or whatever the nature of it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a risk. It is a risk that they could say no. And I'm not saying that they will tell him yes before on Monday, but I'm saying that they'll have a better feel. Like everybody gets a percentage. Okay, well, 70% they're going to say yes, 60% whatever the case is. But I mean, I'm going to tell everybody this: Miami's not offering him what people were putting out. They're not offering him $1 million to stay there. That's not even remotely close to what's being offered for him to stay. So in Miami, God bless their loving souls. They continuously state that Florida State's NIL checks are bouncing. Why or how they would say this, I don't know. It couldn't be further from the truth that our guys are actually getting their money. And just a little bit of a tidbit out there. Daryl Jackson could, if he wanted to speak on this, he could tell a lot more than I could. But there's a reason why he wasn't happy with the NIL at Miami. I'm not going to say that it was because the check bounced. I'm just going to say that it was because something bounced. And I'm throwing that out there because I'm tired of people at Miami saying otherwise because it's really pissing me off because it's not true. Now, one thing and I'll give Rising Spear a bunch of kudos on this. Everything that they've told these young men so far that they were going to do, they did.
Mm-hmm.
The only young man that I could say that might have misunderstood what was told to him, or maybe Rising Spear did make a mistake and put it out there wrong, was DMAC. But it got fixed. And it was because DMAC came to a couple of us. Me and James were the two. He came to us. We got it figured out for him. And it was just a misunderstanding. Regardless of who was at fault, it was a misunderstanding. And now Battles In has made that right all the way around because I know what DMAC is doing. I know what he's getting. And he deserves everything that he's getting. And Battles In is done. They complement Rising Spear very well because Battles In is only focusing on football. And it's allowing Rising Spear to take a little bit of that pressure off of having to give so much to football because they want to help. They want to help the softball team, the soccer team, and the two basketball teams. They want to help them just as well. But
do you believe in, before you continue, I'm all for that. Like everybody needs to get their money. But I just believe in, when it comes to college athletics, I just believe in the trickle down effect. Take care of football and every other program will be fine.
Correct.
But when you start trying to dig into the football pockets to take care of others, you're going to mess this up.
Yes.
Take care of football, your softball team, your polo, your swimming, lacrosse, they'll be just fine. The only sport that really doesn't need football is basketball. Can pretty much take care of itself for the most part. So I understand Riding Spirit wants to take care of other programs, but let's take care of the big dogs and everybody else eat.
Yep. No, and I completely agree. And that's a big reason why I stepped away from the other collective that I'm just not saying their name, but I stepped away from them because they started focusing on things that had nothing to do with football. And I'm like, look, we can take care of everybody eventually. But right now, can we make sure that we take care of the football program, seeing how that's what makes or breaks this university?
Makes or breaks damn near every university.
It's 100% correct. I mean, outside of Duke
and Kentucky.
In Kentucky, I mean, football is the dominant sport in every university around.
Yeah.
So, yes, I completely agree. And what it is the NIL space, even though it's 2 years old now, is still so new to everyone, and there's so many legislations in the state of Florida and Texas that still have people guessing at what they can do and wondering if it's the right way or whatever. February, we have a vote coming up to get rid of legislation, and that's what we need so that we can be on par with the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Tennessees. We need this vote to pass, and it will. It's already got the votes preliminary, but we need that to happen. The problem is, even though we vote for it in February, it won't go into effect until August of this year. So we have so many months we still have to follow those rules, and we are still going to be somewhat behind. I don't want to say behind, but at a disadvantage because we can't talk. Our coaches cannot tell any of the kids anything about NIL. The only thing our coaches can say is that our NIL is on par with everyone else's. That is as far as that conversation can go legally. That's as much as they can say about it. They can't even find out, or they're not even supposed to know what this kid's making or what this kid's getting or what he could potentially get. They're not supposed to know those things right now due to legislation, which is a joke, but it's the facts. So we are doing the best that we can, and I think that the fans, to be completely honest, have done a great job for the most part on supporting NIL, but we do have a lot of old heads in this fan base and others that believe that NIL is ruining college football, and I'm trying to explain to people that it's not going anywhere. It's here and it's never leaving, and I will say never, not in my lifetime. That you either adapt or die.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're either going to adapt to this NIL thing or our football program is going to die. Like, I don't know which one they want, but you either have to do it or you have to let your program die, and we're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many of us that will ride this train. But to get off of NIL a little bit and to ask another question that I wanted to get a perspective from the outside looking in. Do you feel like, because Norvell today, they announced that there was a verbal agreement between Norvell and Florida State University that he was getting an extension.
I saw that, yeah.
Do you believe that his extension is going to put him in the upper range of coaches or keeps him middle of the pack? Because
in terms of,
we'll say the amount of money that he's going to make.
So like in terms of just pay.
Yeah.
How much is Mike making right now? Like 5?
5.
My guess is, I mean, it's hard to gauge.
What would you do? I guess is what I should ask. Would you pay him the amount that makes sense as far as you want to keep him here till 2030, or you want to pay him and see how it goes the next 2 years?
Well, look, let's just call it what it is. I'll answer it this way. Jimbo reset the bar. When A&M did what they did to a national championship winning coach, they reset the bar on what was the base pay basically for these coaches.
Yep.
Okay. And if you don't think Jimbo set the bar, well, look at everybody that's left the program since. They're making 8+.
Yep.
Do I know? Should we be paying Mike 8+? And he's just had his first winning season. Look, Norvell's got me on his side, so I'm not going to say no. He deserves whatever it is he ends up making. But ultimately, that just might be the base salary now going forward. It's $7-8 million. And if you're Florida State, you are looking to be on the right track to do some really good things, not only next year, but in the, continue to climb, no pun intended. Do you risk shortchanging Mike and having to do this thing all over again? I don't think you do, and I don't think Mike wants to go anywhere. Florida State's one of the few programs, man, and you can talk about money all you want. When things are rolling in Tallahassee, they don't just win games, they win rings. Okay, you can't say that about Oregon. Oregon's got a bunch of wins. How many rings they got? Or that same amount of rings that's on the side of that helmet. When stuff is rolling right in Tallahassee, you win rings. So you got to pay the man, and at the end of the day, again, Jimbo reset the bar, and you see Mario went getting $8 million, and he looks like a terrible coach. No, he's got time to turn it around. But same thing with Billy Napier. I mean, the list goes on, That's just the way I'll answer it.
So Panama Jack actually made a really cool statement on the chat. 6.5 million. Mike is on board for the long haul. Mike doesn't come off to me as a guy chasing money. I will tell Panama Jack this and anyone else. Mike Norvell is not a money chaser, and that's what's so cool about him. What I say, and I'm getting a little bit too technical with this, but I would give Norvell $6.5 million. And if he succeeds a ACC championship in 2023, I will get that bumped up to the 7.8 to 8.2 million if he pulls that off. That you could phrase the contract that way. Obviously, we'll give you the 6.5 for this upcoming season. If in 2023 you win an ACC title, we'll bump it up to 7.8 or 8.2, and therefore after we have a contract with you until 2028, 2030, whatever that looks like. Because that's what the biggest thing is if someone does come to buy Norvell out because he does well here, you want his contract to be big enough that gives you some of that money back that you
right.
lost.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. You're right on that.
The more that you pay this guy, the better off you're going to be when he does succeed here. Because if someone comes after him, you need to make some of that money back that you lost on guys that didn't do so well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would put it out 6.5 for this 2023 season. You win 10 wins or get an ACC championship this year, we'll bump it up to 7, 6, 8, 2, and then we'll contract you until 2028, and we'll see what happens from there. But look at what LSU's coach, their brand new coach and Brian Kelly just got. Now, is he proven at Notre Dame? Yes. Did he have a successful first year in most of the opinions? Absolutely. Was he worth $10 million a year? Is that what he got? I don't exactly remember, but it was high. I don't know that he's worth that, but LSU's got stupid money, and they're able to throw that out there. Florida State has stupid money, but I think that we want to see a little bit more before we throw $8 million in, because everybody was saying throw the house at him. And I didn't quite agree. I'm like, wait a minute. We had 110-win season.
Yeah, I don't know if after 1 year you start talking about throwing the house at a guy. And I'm not trying to be negative. And I know, I've been critical of Mike, but I feel like I had reason to be. I haven't been critical of Mike at all this year.
And that's the reason that I asked you from the outside looking in. And what I meant by that is that you have criticized Mike when necessary.
That's what I think.
And
according to some people, all I do is complain, though. But whatever.
No. So that's so the thing that I wanted people to understand is if you wanted to see somebody that just went after Norvell to go after him, there was plenty of those out there.
Oh, there's plenty of them. Yeah.
But Polk wasn't one of them, and I'll second that. I swear to you, wasn't. The things that I heard you criticize or critique, all of those questions were in my mind as well, and I critiqued him in a different way.
But you know what's crazy? He answered most of those questions this year.
Absolutely.
That's all I ever asked. Answer the questions.
And like you said, he answered most of the questions this year. And now the only question I have left is, can you be a long-term success at Florida
Right.
State? Show me this year that you can win 10 more and an ACC championship. And yes, you throw 8 million plus or 7-8 plus at him because he's now showing proof of concept and consistency. Now you have consistent measure that you can go off of. And then again, if someone comes to hire him, they have to pay out a contract that helps us out. Go get a guy that is a bigger name, so to speak.
So to speak. Yeah.
What I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I am going to go, or you can ask me a question or a couple of questions, and then I'm going to go. I don't want to take up your whole show. I would be honest, and I would like to watch some of it, and my face not be on it. Do you feel like is it Dent that we didn't utilize very well this year, or Gant? Because I get those two names mixed up in the DB side.
Well, Gant, they moved to backer.
Yeah, so Dent's who I'm talking about.
So we're talking about number 27.
Yes, 27. So do you feel like he can have a coming out party, so to speak, this 2023 season and help out that room? Or Travis J. I want to throw Travis J in there because the only thing that was holding him back, and I've told this a little bit, was his academic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's got that taken care of, I fully expect him to be a rotational piece, possibly a starter, because he did very, very well on the practice squad, and that's what I call him. Do you feel like either one of those guys can help the DB room at what you've seen from them potential-wise? I know that we haven't seen too much from them, but potential, do you think that they could help this room out if they just take that step forward?
I'm going to talk on Dent because anytime, as far as Travis J goes, anytime you don't play football for a year, I got a lot of questions. So he basically didn't play football at all this year. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for Travis J. Maybe it's a good thing and he's able to get 100% healthy. And maybe we see a new revitalized Travis J, but that's a big question, man. You sit out a year of football, that's going to be tough to answer that question. As far as Dent goes, I thought Dent played better last year than he did this year, especially by the end of last year. I thought he was playing real good. I'm not sure. I don't think he played bad this year, but I don't know if he took the step we were expecting him to take. And I'd be curious to see. I think first and foremost, we need him. I just don't know if Dent is a finished product at this point, or if he can take another step and really kind of maybe take the role. He's not the same player as Jamie. They're different players in terms of how they play the game. But can he be a Jamie S type leader in that secondary? I would say we need him to be. I don't know if he. I don't know. I just don't know where Akeem's cap is. I don't know if he's capped out already or if he has more room to show off some stuff that maybe we haven't seen. It's tough.
I can respect that. I don't know if you want this brought up on the show or not, because I don't know exactly what I've been promising. But Robert Garcia said, Chris, I sure hope your talk is not all fluff. You promise a lot with not much results. I don't know what I'm promising that there's not results for, but maybe you'll ask the question.
Who did you give some promise to? Who did you promise something to? And
I didn't. I would love to know so I can make sure I fulfill my promise. But guys, I'm merely a spectator of this sport, and I merely get conversations with people that matter, and I get to be around a lot of these people that matter, and they get to tell me the inside situation of what's going on, and I put it out in a way that I think all I can say is I predicted this team to win 9 ball games in the regular season to win a bowl game. They won 9 and they won a bowl game, and I projected that as of this month last year. That's how early I projected it. So I don't know what I may have promised and haven't fulfilled, but I can't make the team win if that's what you're asking. I can't make sure that they can win an ACC championship. I'm not the coach, and I don't play the ball game, so I can't fulfill that.
I know you told me around early signing period that it was 100% that Verse was coming back.
Yep.
You told me that, and I never spoke on it, but you told me 100% Verse is coming back.
Yep.
And he was right. Now, he made some other predictions on the recruiting side that didn't come true, but recruiting is a fluid thing, man. You get all of those wrong. You can get a lot of that wrong. But he told me 100% without hesitation, Verse was coming back, and it happened. So
then as a solid safety, nothing more, nothing less. I agree. And look, what I want to say to people is, and please DM me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram if there was something that I said that hasn't been fulfilled. Please let me know. I don't know what that is, but I will definitely listen to you. And maybe you just wanted me to see that and say something. I don't know. But what I will say is we went 6 for 6 on sporadics this year. We predicted that Johnny Wilson would come back. He's coming back. We projected that Jordan Travis would come back. He came back. I projected that Trey Benson would come back. He came back. And whom else? Who?
I'm thinking
0. Who's that? Fabo would come back. He came back.
Fabo.
And I told people that Jamie Robinson was leaving months and months ago, that this was Jamie's last year, because I had the conversation with him about mid-season if this was surely his last year regardless of the results. And he told me the only thing that would make him stay at Florida State is if he was injured and couldn't prove enough to go to the NFL. Well, he didn't get injured, and he was able to prove what he needed to prove. So we also projected that he would leave, and he left. But I think anybody could have projected that Jamie was leaving personally. That if you keep up with it at all, I think you would have noticed that Jamie was leaving.
I'll ask you something before you head out. Just I'm curious. Because there's a lot, and maybe you know something about this, maybe you don't. But personally, I don't like to talk about it because I feel like it's a BS rumor. But it comes up so much that I'm like, maybe somebody has something on this stuff. Is Marvin Jones Jr., is there like legit talk that he might hit the portal after this year?
Yes.
You're laughing because
I get asked that question so often. And yes, there is actual merit to this. So I will say this. Marvin Jones Jr. was promised a whole lot at Georgia, not just by Kirby Smart, but also the defensive ends coach. He was promised to be able to do a lot of things, even in his first true freshman year. And he had, I think it was next to the least amount of true freshman playtime out of all the true freshmen on the team, and that's not what was promised to him. And it's not looking like he's going to get the playtime that he was promised.
I think there's another freshman DN that even plays more than him.
There is, and that's
I don't remember that kid's name, but I think
And yes, so there is merit that he will know where he sits by spring. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was entered into the transfer portal come springtime at all. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I actually kind of expect it, to be honest.
Do you think FSU's in the running for that? I'm sure they would reach out. No reason why they wouldn't. But would he be interested in Florida State? Oh, Chris jumped off there. I don't know if that was by accident. We'll see if he hops back on. Just dropped off. I would have to believe, to answer my own question, I'll just answer my own question. How about that? But I would have to believe that he would at least entertain Florida State for second time around, seeing as what Florida State continues to do with these defensive ends, I don't see why he won it. He said Michael Williams is his name. Michael Williams, he was a big time defensive end prospect though, wasn't he? Wasn't he like a 5-star? Okay, Chris back on here. Let's bring him on.
Sorry, I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, he just popped off. But I was asking you, I don't know if you heard the question. Like, I'm pretty sure Florida State would have interest. Do you think he would have interest in Florida State?
Absolutely. I think I will be honest with people. I do believe that the 1 and 2 school for MJ, it was definitely Florida State at a close number 2. And what I mean by that is it was closer that Georgia was falling. It was the fact that we didn't do that great of a job in the beginning at going after Junior. We kind of got into the depth of the mix kind of midway, where we should have been in the depth of the mix early on. We were recruiting from the very beginning, but we wasn't going after him as hard as Georgia was. And that relationship that he got to build with Kirby and with the defensive end coach at Georgia, they just talked to him a lot more than we did. They got to speak to him a hell of a lot more than we did, and they made sure of it. They locked him down, and they did a great job. But Norvell and the staff coming in midway really hard, really made him second guess if he was going to go to Georgia. I will say that it did take, with all honesty, down to the last week for him to really decide. And I truly believe him on that. He didn't know months in advance or weeks in advance that he was going to Georgia. I don't think he really knew until that week that he was definitely going to Georgia. So if he enters the transfer portal, I think Florida State's the team to beat, to be completely honest, to get him. I think he knows what he could come do here immediately and what type of impact he could have immediately. So, yes, I think we could get him very quickly. And then he would be able to transfer right away and be, a key starter, to be completely honest, even though you have Jared Verse coming back and Pat Payton's going to play well, and you've got some guys behind them that are going to do good. I still think that Marvin Jones Jr. would beat out some of the guys that we have behind those two, possibly even give one of them a run for their money. I'm not naming who, because it's not Jared Verse, it's the other one, because I love Pat Payton. Think he's great. But I do believe that Marvin Jones Jr. is all the hype and then some of what they say.
Okay, one more question, and you kind of alluded to it. I know we're recruiting this DN out of South Carolina right now. Forget his name.
Edmond.
With Verse coming back, me personally, I'll give you my take, and then I'll ask you. Me personally, I don't think with Verse coming back should affect defensive end. I still think they should go out and get one because, like I was telling a lot of people, newsflash, Leonard Warner played a lot of snaps for you. You should be able to. You need to upgrade that. Now, Pat Payton, D-Mac, that's your 3-man rotation. I don't know who that 4th guy is at this point.
Right.
Is that Jaden Jones? It could be. But I know he's coming off of ACL, so it might take him a while to get in the swing of things. I don't expect it to be Lamont Green Jr. year 1. Does Byron Turner step up? Possibly, but I think Byron Turner's in a make-or-break year for him. If he doesn't put it on the field this year, he's probably hitting the portal. But this time next year, we're talking about Byron Turner in the portal, right? Dante Anderson is another one. Is it possible? Sure, but you still got to see it to believe it. Aaron Hester. So there are bodies, but I think Verse coming back or not, I think we should still be attacking the defensive ends. Do you have any insight on that? And are there any other names? Because I also saw that they offered the Utah State kid recently, DN at a Utah State. I forget his name. Is Florida State actively going to still with Verse coming back? Is Florida State still going to actively pursue defensive ends, or were they doing that in preparation of Verse leaving? I think I know the answer, but I'm just curious.
They're 100%. Maybe to the extent of how many of them they offered, it was just in case Verse decided to leave. But they are still very much so after 1, possibly 2. They need them. And I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of those names that you just named aren't in the transfer portal this spring.
Makes sense. especially if they bring in some guys.
Yeah, because they're going to bring in competition. It will happen. I think Edmond, we lead the way 100%. And even the kid out of Utah State is an upgrade from some of what you've got. So if you bring those two in, I think you see a couple of guys enter the transfer portal. It's kind of just the way it has to be.
Yeah, it's the way it's going to happen. I wholeheartedly agree with you. It's just the way it works.
But that's it, man. I do appreciate you letting me come on. I hope I didn't make it sound like I had like huge news or nothing. I'd seen someone say something about any news about the new uniforms. All I will say is there are new uniforms. I can't say what they are because that's not right. But there are new uniforms that will be announced. Probably the spring game, I would think. They might wait that long. But that's when I would look for them to be announced.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. Is it like a drastic change to uniform or just something minor? Or we can complete, or you can't say nothing?
I will say that there's been so many hints given about it already that I would say there will be a game or two, but probably only one game this year played where we wear these particular uniforms, and it's not anything that we have not seen before.
Okay. Sounds good to me then. Sounds good to me.
Well,
but man, Chris, I appreciate you, man. And hey, it wasn't about you having big news or not. I just like talking ball. So for me, I tell you all the time, you're always invited. I tried to make some of your shows, man, but you know my schedule. I don't like putting out times and then I can't make it because then I feel bad. So I try to play it by ear sometimes.
Do you want to say anything about the thing that we talked about at the tailgate with the lady?
Well, I want to kind of wait to see what happens with it. I don't want to jump.
Okay, cool. That's cool. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
But I will definitely be hitting you up about that Monday or Tuesday. I'll know when that's available and then do with it how you want.
Yes, sir.
But yes, it is going to happen. But as long as it's not neon green uniforms. No, it's not. It's not neon green uniforms.
Why the hell would we have neon green?
I don't know. But that's what he said. And Gotti said just bring back the 2013 unis.
Probably something to that nature, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what we got.
There was a picture released, and
this is going to be the 10-year anniversary, by the way. So
exactly, and I used this picture on complete accident in a graphic of mine of Jordan Travis in the 2013 uniform, and I completely did it on accident. So y'all can figure it out from there. That's what I'm going to say. But Polk, as always, man, I appreciate it. I hope the rest of your show is uninterrupted and you have a great time answering some of these questions. You got a lot of people that are active. That's really cool.
Yes,
and,
sir.
I'll talk to you Monday or Tuesday.
Hey, appreciate you coming on, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, guys. That was Chris with Spear Addicts, man. Good conversation. He's usually on. He's a routine guest, so, and plus a lot of you guys probably listen to him, and he has his own channel. If you're not subscribed, or go check him out over there at Sporadics. Go check him out. Twitter, Instagram, he's on all of that. Definitely go check him out, man. What we want to do now is, I don't know. We're at an hour, almost 30, but it's a Saturday night, so ain't no time limit on a Saturday. We in here just chilling. There is a fight on tonight, by the way, but I'm not wasting my money on Tank Davis fighting whoever the hell he's fighting. Tank's not getting my money tonight because I already know how that fight ends. What I kind of want to do, man, is I want to look at again, this way too early roster, man. Again, and I don't think this roster is done by a long shot, but I kind of want to just look at it, glance at it with Verse coming back, and you pick up the number one defensive tackle in the portal, the number one cornerback in the portal, one of the top, two offensive linemen in the portal. Thank you. I'm glad somebody else said it. You've added tremendous portal talent, man. Tremendous portal talent to go along with retaining, again, every good player. Pay, stream, everything. I hear you. But you got tremendous retention. You brought in some guys. I don't know if any of the freshmen really contribute, but Hakeem should be in the mix. You know, maybe one of those DBs are more than advertised and surprise us. Maybe have a Nate Andrews type, freshman year. I think we should maybe take a look at this way too early roster and how are we feeling? Because I'll be honest with you, right now I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling really good right now. What do y'all think? Do we look at the roster? Y'all want to look at? Let's just go 2 deep depth chart from there, and again, this is going to change by the time we probably play a game, but I think FSU fans should be feeling pretty good. Is there a solid safety out there in the portal? I would have to look off the top of my head. I don't necessarily know. I do know there's over 1,000 kids to choose from. Tight end room might go from worst to first. You're not lying. The tight end room is very intriguing. When does the kid supposed to be coming back? Okay. FSU's early enrollees are already on campus. A majority of them. I don't know if all of them are, but there's a Hakeem, Jaden Jones, Lamont Green Jr., Fisk, Jaheim Bell. You name it, pretty much all the big-time players are already on campus. 2 top 10 teams week 1. I don't think it'll be a college game day because it's on we play on that Labor Day or that Labor Day Eve. So we'll probably be playing on that Sunday. Excuse me. So you probably won't be getting FSU, LSU, but I do think you're at a minimum it's top 15, but top 10 is really likely. Who do we feel steps in to fill that Jamie role? As of right now, I got to think it's Shaheem. But I don't know. But if you ask me right now, I think it's Shaheem Brown. He might have to, but we'll see. I don't think he can, personally. He might be a great young talent. I think you're asking a lot for him to crack the 2 deep. So let's get it, man. Let's get to the roster. But let's start on offense because y'all asked us some good roster questions. So let's start. Let's start at quarterback. Quarterback, we probably have to spend the least amount of time on. Is Jordan Travis? The big question from the offseason is going to be what Zoe just asked. Does Duffy jump Tate for quarterback 2? That's going to be – we know who quarterback 1 is. Barring an injury in the preseason, let's knock on some wood there. There's no question about who quarterback 1 is for us. The big question from the quarterback position this offseason is going to be, who's QB 2? Does Duffy take the leap? Does Tate Rodemaker take a leap that maybe we're not foreseeing? He did play better in that Louisville game than anybody thought he would, right? Was that just the tip of the iceberg? I'm interested to see it. Early prediction, I want Duffy. From an early prediction standpoint, I would want Duffy to take that leap, but I don't know. That's honestly the only question coming from the quarterback room is who's QB 2? Because QB 1 is solidified. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We know what that is. Let's move to running back. Let's move to running back. What's up, John? John says, Happy New Year. Y'all better bubble wrap Travis in the spring and all next season. Travis didn't miss one game this year. I don't know what we bubble wrapping him for. Put respect on the best quarterback in the state of Florida. But what's up, John? Happy New Year to you, too. Yeah, I seen that photo, too. Jaden Jones is bigger than I thought he was. You said Jaden Bell looks like a dude you don't want to mess with. Jaden Jones, who's all the way on the left at the end, is is way bigger than I thought he was. You're talking about people that look like beasts. But let's not jump to the defense just yet. Let's move to running back. The two deep on the running backs is an interesting. Well, first of all, the depth chart about running backs is an interesting thing because we know Florida State has a tailback and a running back position. Toafili will be your starting tailback. Benson will be your starting running back. The question becomes, who's going to spell Benson? Who's the second running back there? And then is Rodney Hill more of the tailback behind Toafili, or is that another guy? Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Obviously, I think it's Trey Benson and Toafili, but we know they use Toafili in a unique way, more of a passing attack and all of that. Who's really that second running back in the room? Who's Trayshawn Ward, or better yet, when Trayshawn Ward was a starter, who's the Trey Benson? Who's that second guy? I think way too early. The assumption is that it's Keziah Holmes. I think that's the assumption because he's another big back, 5'11", 6 foot, whatever he is, 220 pounds, whatever he is. Again, might be bigger than Trey Benson, really. So the assumption is it's Holmes. But do you really want to sleep on Rodney Hill? I thought Rodney Hill had some really interesting moments last year in some garbage time. And I know it was garbage time, and he might not have been playing against the best of competition in that garbage time. But Hill looked good to me in spots. What about C.J. Campbell? I thought C.J. Campbell had his moments where he didn't look half bad either. You know? I think we're putting a lot of expectation on Keziah Holmes, and I get it. He was a 4-star running back who went to Penn State and came back. And you bought him in a transfer, right? So you kind of want those transfers to stick and hit. But I think you got some other guys. And then I don't know, man. Can you really sleep on Singleton? That type of speed. And I think Singleton's a natural runner. I don't know if you can really sleep on that. And I know he's a freshman, and I know you say we got a lot of options that you probably don't need to rush your freshman, and I do get that. Singleton might be the fastest guy in that room, right? But we'll see. I think you're in good hands with Ward. I think you're in good hands with Lawrence Toafili. It does look, we glossing over Toafili because we kind of see him more of as a receiver and a receiver out of the backfield, and they like to use Toafili on the wheel routes and all that. Does Toafili add another dynamic to his game this offseason? Is it possible that he becomes more of a between the tackles runner in this offseason, more of a complete running back in this offseason? Does Toafili take that spot? I don't think it's out of the question, and I don't think we should necessarily just automatically sleep on LT. Number 9 might have some more tricks up his sleeves in that running back room. So I'll get to what you guys think, but we got to get to the $20 super chat from our dog Chris Robinson. It says, "What up, Orlando on the check-in?" Shout out to my boy Chris. I got one for you, John, and it's all love.
Bitch, be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
There's a lot of hype around Rodney. Do we still have Pittman? Yes. You think the backs are going to hit the portal? I don't foresee. I think we got our back. Trayshawn Ward's the back that hit the portal. I don't foresee any of the other guys. We know Benson's not. LT signed with Battles End Collective, so I don't see that happening. I think Rodney Hill might be too, but I don't know for sure about Rodney. But Rodney's not going anywhere. CJ's not going anywhere. Keziah Holmes already transferred here, so he's not going anywhere. So no, I don't foresee a running back hitting the portal personally. Is Jacksonville winning? I got so many Jaguars fans watching this game. And I get it because they haven't been good in so long. Like, I get it. Yeah, they are winning 20-16 with 2 minutes, almost 3 minutes left. He said maybe Campbell hits the portal. I mean, he's not on scholarship. I guess if another school that offers him a scholarship, maybe. I don't know if he has a. Usually, if you're a walk-on, I don't know if you have that type of expectation, but maybe they do. Maybe they do. Let's move on, man. To wide receiver. We talked about running back and quarterback. Wide receiver. Wide receiver is interesting, man. Wide receiver is interesting because there's a very similar to running back, man. There's just a lot of bodies there. And you want to talk about the portal. I think that's the position that we should be watching for around springtime, transfer portal wise. Obviously, Johnny Wilson's coming back, which I honestly never. What's so funny to me about that, and that's not a knock on Johnny, I just never thought he was. I'm actually kind of surprised he was actually considering leaving. Like, I don't know where he thinks. Again, I'm not trying to knock Johnny. I don't know how good Johnny thinks he is, or, like, I get it. You're 6'7", and you will be a commodity, but I can get a Johnny Wilson in the 3rd or 4th round. I'm not so sure what Johnny's thinking, and I might be being kind with 3rd or 4th round if I'm being honest. But Johnny's coming back, which is good, great. You lose Ontario Wilson, Pokey. You lose Pokey Wilson, but and he was very reliable for you, especially this year. Which I told people, man, like, if Pokey's not your number one, you have a good receiver there. The problem with Pokey was when he was being asked to be the number one guy. But when he wasn't asked to be the number one guy this year, and I think you saw him have his best year as a Seminole. Does Winston Wright instantly just fill in for Pokey and be, do we not miss a beat? Because you're getting Winston Wright back. And I think most people would probably tell you if Winston Wright was healthy this year, he might have been your number one guy. He might have. I see a lot of people talking about Johnny's a good player, man. He's 6'7", 230. I was higher on Johnny than most come preseason last year. So I'm not trying to knock Johnny, but we're talking about in terms of the NFL. I don't care what being the 2nd or 3rd best receiver in the ACC got to do with anything. And I don't even know if that's true. I wouldn't take Johnny Wilson over that Wake Forest, A.T. Perry or whatever his name is at Wake Forest. I wouldn't take Johnny over him. What about the Boston College wide receiver, Fowers or whatever? I wouldn't take Johnny over him. That's just 2 right there. I'm probably missing some other guys, but those are just 2 guys off the top of my head that I know I wouldn't take Johnny over. So again, I'm not trying to knock Johnny, and maybe the numbers say he was the 2nd or 3rd. Second's pushing it. 3rd, maybe the numbers say he was the 3rd, but just me though. I don't think an NFL team is drooling at the mouth over Johnny Wilson. That's just me though. That's just me. Point being, Winston Wright, all of a sudden, he's back in the mix. Micah Pittman's still there. We'll see what happens. They like to use Micah in different ways. Ja'Kai Douglas is signed with Battles and Collective, so he's not going anywhere. There's one guy if we talk about a guy that's a deep threat, can take the top off of defense, I don't know why we don't use Ja'Kai Douglas more. Now, granted, I know he was hurt a majority of this year. They actually thought he was going to miss They actually thought he was going to miss the whole year, but Ja'Kai got back. Portier, Williamson, Deuce Span. Am I missing anybody? I think that's everybody that's currently on the roster. And then you're bringing in Hakeem Williams, Voncharius Jacobs, and Goldie Lawrence to the mix. You are really deep. Yeah, there you go. Josh Downs in North Carolina. That's another one. So you are really deep at that receiver spot. I do think you get a guy or two when it's all said and done might hit the portal there. I mean, we're talking about Keyshawn Helton. And shout out to Keyshawn. He did go to Cincinnati. But Keyshawn didn't see the field. We were so deep this year that Keyshawn didn't see the field for us. He didn't see the field. We're going to be even deeper next year. Malik McClain, I got a name I meant. I mean, Johnny's going to stay in that number one spot. Winston Wright, I think Johnny, Winston Wright, Micah Pittman is kind of your three that's going to go into the season leading the way. If I had to pick a portal guy, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, I think it's out of these three guys. You might get two of the three. But I really think out of Kentron, Portier might have signed with Battles and Collective, though. So I can't remember. I almost feel like he did. But Malik McClain, Portier, and Williamson might be the three. I think Portier stays. I actually think, I think he signed with Battles in. But McClain could be on the way out. And I still say Williamson is also potential there. So that's me. Let's see what y'all talking about. Man, Johnny's first year as a true wideout, he really didn't do nothing that. No, I agree. I'm not knocking Johnny. I don't want to make it seem like I'm knocking him. I just, this is in terms of his NFL potential. I think he would have made a grave mistake had he declared for the draft, was all I was saying. Didn't make sense to me why he was even considering the NFL, in my opinion. I think Johnny's going to be, he's going to do exceptional things next year. Yeah. I think yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried. Man, I'm not even caring about that. He stopped it. Stop it. I'm targeting traveling to the UN game. I'm thinking we dropped 50 on the little school down south. That's right. It's a kick returner, not a punt returner. We got to give Pittman his flowers for not fumbling one punt. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of feel bad for Helton. I mean, I understand why you feel bad, but hey, last time I checked, we want to be having these conversations. And I get it. We like Keyshawn because he's no-blooded and he was here and he stuck through all the pain and suffering and he came. I get it. But I ain't losing no sleep because Keyshawn Helton didn't see the field, dog, if I'm just being honest with you. I'm just being honest with you. Ja'Kai is still there. Yes, he is. Yes, Williamson got his fair share of snaps before the injury he had this year. I think Portier's going to be in the rotation. No, nobody said Josh Downs was coming to us. We were saying, I was saying there's somebody, I don't remember who said Johnny Wilson was like a top 3 receiver in the ACC. And I was like, I can probably name 3 guys before I get to Johnny. I agree. Very important offseason for Malik. What up? But let's move to tight end, man. And this is it's the truth. I know, I understand why we like him, but I'm not losing no sleep because Keyshawn couldn't get any snaps this year. Let's go to tight end, man. Let's go to tight end. This is the room that's gonna take the biggest drastic jump. Someone said it earlier in the stream. This might go from worst to first. It has the potential anyway. Nat, Jaheim Bell, Kyle Morlock, and Biscuit is Biscuit's not something to sneeze at, man. Excuse me 1 second. Let me get me something to drink. Yeah, Biscuit's not nothing to sneeze at, guys. I think Biscuit kind of proved that Biscuit will be a valuable weapon even with the addition of the two guys that we ended up getting. I wholeheartedly believe that. That tight end room should be really, and the beautiful thing about Jaheim Bell is he can be used in so other ways. You can literally play those three guys on the field together. You can play Bell, Morlock, and Marcus and Douglas on the field at the same time. Yeah, I agree, Peter. 85 has some good skills. I think he has. I don't think he has less. I won't say less. I think because of what I just said, I think you can play those three on the field at the same time. I think you can play those three and you don't lose anything because Jaheim Bell is so versatile. I mean, he's literally a wide receiver out there. So I can put Jaheim Bell in the slot where maybe a Pittman would normally be and still have Morlock. And maybe, hell, I can line Jaheim Bell in the backfield and have a 2 tight end set of Morlock and Biscuit. I mean, you get what I'm saying? A lot of options there with those 3 tight ends. I'm excited to see how they use them for sure, but a lot of options with those 3 tight ends. The tight end room belongs to the transfer. It pretty much, well, except for Biscuit. Biscuit's a homegrown guy. He's a homegrown guy. I think it wouldn't surprise me if a guy like a Jackson West hit the portal because I don't foresee Jabril Powers or Brian Courtney hitting the portal. I actually think they're high on both of those guys. Those guys just need a little bit more season and marinating, which is why you go out and sign 2 tight ends in the portal this year. Jaheim's probably a one and done. So I think they like the 2. Well, they'll be sophomores coming up. I think like those 2 guys, Jackson West is probably the odd man out in that room for sure. Let's get to this. Yeah, no, he is. He is. Love McDonald, but the guys, I'm with you. I like Cam McDonald, but he had too many drops. Cam had too many drops last year, man. So I'm with you there. Was he really? well, I don't think Jackson would, unless you mean he was remaining the freshman, because he wasn't rated higher than Jaheim Bell. But everybody else, you're probably right about, though. Man, I've been saying that. I think you probably get 2 years out of Morlock. I think Jaheim's probably a one and done guy. And yeah, Jaheim can be very similar to Bowers out of Georgia if we use him. Absolutely. You got to have a fridge in the room. You absolutely do. Can't have you can have a man cave and not have a fridge in there, right? Let's move to this O-line, man. There's the one spot on the offense that I would draw a question mark. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a question mark in the sense of I'm worried. I'm just very intrigued on what the starting O-line will be. I'm not worried. But the 2 deep on the O-line is extremely interesting. This Florida State has a lot of bodies. Florida State has a lot of bodies. Just real quick, Zoe says we need fullbacks in this offense. That's where I think Jaheim Bell's gonna. That's where I don't think you see a lot of DJ Lundy next year, if at all. I think Jaheim Bell gets those opportunities that we were giving Lundy. I don't think you need Lundy next year. But back to the O-line, man. I've given it some thought. I think let's from left to right. Obviously, Robert Scott. I think they're going to put Byers at left guard. Roddick or Maurice Smith. You know what's crazy about Mo-licious? We keep trying to replace Maurice Smith, and he keeps proving that he's the guy. Even before Caden Lyles' injury, if you ask me, I said there's no way Caden Lyles was the starter, right? But what's crazy is even before the injury, everybody said Maurice Smith was playing better than Caden Lyles. Everybody said Maurice Smith was the better center. We keep trying to replace Maurice Smith, and he keeps stepping up. The only reason I want him out, so to speak, and not out of the program, just maybe is the second string, because of his size. If I can get Mo up to 295 this offseason, we good. But I do think Roddick will be your starting center this year. That's the transfer out of Colorado. I think they brought him in here for that. I think that he will win that job, I think. And that is okay because Maurice is a great second option off the bench at that center. Right guard will be Keandre Jones out of Auburn. I expect him to be your right guard. He could be your left guy. My assumption is they want to put the more versatile guy at the left spot, but I could be wrong. But I think Byers at left, Keandre Jones at right. The question is, and here's the mystery. Here's the X factor. Who is your right tackle? If I ask most of you would pencil in Bless Harris just because he was the winner of that position last year. So you just kind of expect it. I'm going to be honest with you. That's already been put to bed. Roddick's coming. That's already been so he's coming. He's already said he's coming. That's been put to bed. Just to answer your question, Irv. And I see you guys saying the name I was about to say. I think a lot of people would pencil in Bless, but I think Armella wins that job flat out this offseason. I think Armella will be your starting right tackle, and I'm saying it here in January. I think Armella will be your starting right tackle to start the 2023 season. I think Bless is going to be on the second. You cannot sleep on Darius Washington will be your first guy. Darius Washington will still be your swing O-lineman, which means he'll be the first guy off the bench. If an injury goes down at any position, Darius will be the first guy off the bench. Bless Harris will be at one of those tackle spots as a second string guy. But I believe Armella bullies his way to being the starter. I think Jalen Early might bully his way into the two deep with Darius. Mo, did you look at that second string and like Bless and Darius and Mo and some of these stretches? Your second string, Jalen Early might be really good too. Again, I'm not worried about the offensive line. It's just a question mark because there's so many options. I don't know who gets what spot. The left tackle, I think, is solidified. And I think the positions, obviously, that those transfer guys came into, you can almost pencil them in there. None of those guys came to sit. And I do think we have a bit of a weakness on the inside if you take those guys away, because then I don't know who's starting at those guard spots. Is it a Estes? Is it a Zane? Is it Schrader? Will Sat be ready? Will Charles be ready? Oh, I don't know if any of these guys will be ready, but I know, man, it's going to be a lot of competition on this offensive line in the offseason. My starting guys, Scott, Byers, Roddick, Jones, and Armella from left to right. Those are my guys. My second string guys, Darius, Darius Washington. I'll put him as second string left tackle just because, again, he's your swing guy. He's going to be the first guy off the bench. So from left to right, Darius. I'm going to put this was tough. I'm going to put Estes as my second string left guard. I'm going to put, obviously, Maurice as my center. My right guard is, who do we say right guard? Right guard might be a bit of a question. Bless Harris will be your right tackle. Oh, now, you know what? We'll do this. I'm going to say Jalen Early will be your right tackle, and Bless Harris will move to right guard. Hey, Lloyd Willis didn't live up to the billing, but that's okay. Lloyd Willis is out of the program, but that's all right. Sometimes we get them right. Sometimes we get them wrong. I said Lloyd Willis this time last year, and I was wrong. You know who else I said this time last year? I said Pat Payton, and I turned out right on that. So you win some and you lose some. You win some and you lose some. No, I mentioned him. He's your starting right guard. Keandre Jones will be your starting right guard. I definitely already mentioned him, Mardavius. Definitely mentioned him. Can you talk about Kanaya Charlton? Yeah, he's got all the physicals. I still think he was a project guy, but remember, he's a 6'5", 350-pounder. I'm gonna be very interested to see what Kanaya Charlton's body just looks like come when it's time to play football. When it's time to play football, I'm very interested to see his transformation because he was a 6'5", 350, but he wasn't really well put together at 350. Got a bad weight. But if you watch his tape, he can move. He was nasty. Charlton could definitely be a sleeper. No, that's what, yeah. Definitely could be a sleeper. I think Bless can play guard. Last year, I thought Bless would have been a better guard. That was also me thinking that I wanted Lloyd Willis to take that next step so we could move Bless to guard. But either Bless or Early will play that right guard spot. Again, way too early predictions on my part. I think Early will see the field next season. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You can't even sleep on Simmons. Honestly, my instinct says no. I don't want my, I don't want my freshman playing that early. I can't sleep on 6'8", 300 pounds. I say this all the time about Simmons. The most intriguing thing about Simmons is his frame. He's a 6'8", 300, and he looks like he might be 270. Simmons can put on so much good weight, guys. Simmons' potential is absolutely scary. Yes, he is on campus already. Simmons' potential is absolutely scary. Simmons is 6'8", 300, and again, to me, when I look at him, he looks like he's 270. He doesn't look big at all. His arms aren't that big. He doesn't have a bunch of bad weight. Simmons is unlimited potential. You're talking about Simmons is a potential first rounder. And the way he moves. Like I said, Simmons could put on 30 pounds and get to 330, and you probably wouldn't tell. Do I think he cracks the 2 deep as a freshman? I don't. Would not shock me, though. Auto Kid, absolutely. That Auto Kid has a great frame as well. So, hey, Atkins is going to do what Atkins do. Like I said, I ain't worried about the O-line, but it is a question mark only because I don't know who's playing, but I'm intrigued to see it. Absolutely. I think I think you got a lot of experience. I'm with you on that, Ardavius. I think Simmons would have to really be the goods to crack the 2 deep rotation. But like you said, I said it, I think he's got the highest upside out there for sure. Yes, we do have a say. We signed a couple. We'll get to the DBs here in a minute, Wanda. Let's go. So that's the offense. We covered the offense. Let's hit this defensive side of the ball up real quick. You're starting DNs. I mean, come on. Pat verse 5, and we'll see if Pat probably won't be wearing 56 next year, but we'll see. But 5 and 56 will be your starters. with D-Mac, and I'm interested to see who the fourth guy in this rotation is. Which is why I do think they will bring in another guy in the portal. Because again, a lot of people don't speak to this. Leonard Warner was in your 4-man rotation. I don't know if I have to go back and look at some of the depth charts. Leonard Warner was like your fourth guy in the defensive end. It went Verse, D-Mac, Peyton, and then Leonard Warner was the other guy. Yeah, I think Otto's a project. But Leonard Warner was your guys in the 4-man rotation. Somebody's got to fill in for Leonard Warner at a minimum. You still have the top 3 guys, regardless of what we think about D-Mac. And I'm with, I didn't want to say it when Chris was on here, but I saw what y'all were commenting in the comment section. And I don't necessarily disagree with all the D-Mac slander. Honestly, I think D-Mac's just the guy. I don't want to be hard. Don't want to be whatever you want to call me. I just think D-Mac's just the guy. He says D-Mac don't have what it takes. I saw Zoe talk about D-Mac need to give back all his money. Y'all ruthless. But I don't think D-Mac got what it takes in terms of being a starter. I do think D-Mac can be an effective rotation guy for you, but you still need that fourth guy. Is it Edmond? I would love to see if Edmond would be that fourth guy. I would love to have a 6'5", 250-pound guy as the fourth guy. I ain't mad at that. I don't think Lamont Green Jr. sees the field personally. I think Jaden Jones looks like a real defensive end, man. Again, you go look at that picture, and you guys know the picture I'm talking about. That boy Jaden Jones looks the part, but he is coming off of that knee injury. Don't want to put too much on his plate, maybe first and foremost. So he could maybe be the fourth guy. I think they're going to get a guy in the portal. But I think DN's not a hard position to figure out. Me personally, though, I would love to maybe push D-Mac to that fourth spot and get somebody else to take that third. Get another DN to be the first guy off the bench in that rotation. I know they love D-Mac. I know they love his work ethic. I know he's no-blooded. I know D-Mac's all of that stuff, guys. I don't even know why I'm preaching to the choir because y'all the ones slandering him, not me. But I know he's all that stuff, but I think we all agree about D-Mac being up at yeah. Give that money back. Y'all tough, man. I don't think D-Mac goes anywhere. Unless they bring in a couple guys, I don't think he goes anywhere. But again, he signed with Battles In, so I don't foresee D-Mac going anywhere. No, I agree with you. I don't have anything against D-Mac, but he's not a starter. He is on campus already. There's a lot of guys on campus already, guys. Hester's going to have opportunity. And so that brings the next part of this defensive end room. We think we know the top 3, the 4 guys up, barring a transfer portal guy. That fourth position, you bring up names like Aaron Hester, Dante Anderson. Lamont Green's the freshman. I don't expect to see Lamont Green. Byron Turner. I said it when Chris was on the show. If Byron Turner doesn't maybe somehow get in that fourth rotation, Byron Turner's not here next year. I'm telling you that right now. And Chris even said maybe by spring you could see a guy like that hit the portal, which wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me. Some of these guys got to step up. This is a make or break year for Byron Turner, like we talked about with Lloyd last year and some of these other guys. Byron Turner doesn't somehow find a way to see the field this year. He's not going to see the field for Florida State. He's not going to see the field. So, yep, they are. That's Edmond that we're talking about. Let's move to D-tackle. I'm not going to go over next year's schedule on this show, but we can do that. We got a long off season, bro. Don't worry, FSU. No, we'll get to it for sure. I agree with that too. Hester might be a linebacker. Probably fits him better. Don't disagree. That D-tackle room is extremely interesting now. It went from being, I think, a worry. A lot of us thought we were losing Fabo and Cooper. And then what did we have? Ooh. All of a sudden, that D-tackle room looks like an extreme strength. Because not only does Fabo come back, you add 6'5", 300-pound defensive tackle out of Western Michigan, the number one guy who had 6 sacks last year, the number one D tackle in the portal. You add him. Again, you bring Fabo back. I believe Briggs makes the now permanent move back to the inside, which is, I think, where he always needed to be. It was where he's had his best seasons at defensive tackle. Briggs is now in the mix there. Farmer did not start the season off great last year when he got called into action against Louisville. But by the end of the season, Farmer was a real presence on this team. You expect Joshua Farmer to take the next step. Malcolm Ray still on this team. Don't know how good Malcolm Ray necessarily, or should I say how much better Malcolm Ray can get. But Malcolm Ray is a guy who, when he's on the field, he is effective, especially in a pass rushing sense. I think where Malcolm Ray gets exploited, obviously, is running the ball. In that run defense, he can kind of get. He's on the smaller side of our deep tackle room. But Malcolm Ray is an effective player at times. But the real potential of this room, the real thing that's got to have you just gleaming with possibilities, becomes when you start talking about Daniel Lyons, Tafasi. And I'm going to tell you a name. Everybody's so high on Tafasi, and I am too. But I'm going to tell you a name you need to watch for. Because I believe if this guy had stayed at D tackle and not moved to O-line, he would have been a 4-star coming out of high school. And he was a 4-star at one point, and they dropped him a star, which wasn't warranted. And Tavius Woody might be the best pure defensive tackle in that room. He was never an offensive lineman. I understand why they liked him at O-line, because he has a very long frame. He's very athletic. Would have been a great, pulling guard. Even a great center, maybe. But I'm telling you right now, Woody is the name I would watch. In January, I'm telling you. Woody is the name. Woody's the name for me that I would watch. When we start talking about those young defensive tackles, that's my guy. And Tavius Woody's my guy. And then you're also adding your boy Sampson out of North Carolina, the freshman, 4-star freshman. Notice I didn't say Daryl Jackson because I don't know if he's going to be here or not. If he's here, well, there's your starting 4 right there. If Daryl Jackson's in the building, you're 4 deep. You're 2 deep or whatever. Is Fisk, Fabo, Jackson, and I think Briggs. With Farmer really pushing Briggs, it wouldn't even shock me if 44 was in the 4. That 4-man rotation at D tackle. That's if Jackson is here. Don't know whatever. Like Chris said, we'll find out what Jackson, I guess by Monday or Tuesday, whatever, we'll have a better feel for what he's deciding to do. If he's here, great, because he's adding more depth. If he's not, I mean, it is what it is. I would love to have him. I tweeted this. I would love to have him. You never can have too many capable bodies. You can never have too many capable bodies, especially on the interior of your defensive line. But I just named a bunch of young guys that I'm not too worried about if Jackson doesn't come. I'm not too worried about if Jackson doesn't come. I'm not going to lose any sleep over Jackson not coming. Stay at Miami and be the best guy on the roster. Come here, you're a rotation guy. That's just what it is. We're just at different levels at this point. So that's that. Let's go to my voice is kind of going again. My voice still hasn't fully recovered, man. I don't know what it is. That's why you see me drinking. And I'm drinking like ginger ale now. Just gets a little drier quicker than it used to. Got linebackers and DBs, man. Then we're going to close this thing out. I agree the Jackson situation is already a mess. I like that the D tackles are taller. No offense to the trench monster, but he was shorter, lacked length, and not the quickest. Not to mention the injuries. Need tackles to block passing windows and balls. Linebacker, man. We get the starters, just like we spoke about with bro, what are you doing crawling on the ground, bro? It's like we talked about with the starters. My wife is back here crawling on the ground. I guess you're trying to sneak a bottle or something. I don't know. But yeah. I don't know. We know who the starters are, man. Oh yeah, see you're on camera right now. With your bonnet and everything. Yeah, they saw you. Should stay where you were. Bethune, Deloach, they're the starters. We know that. The question with Bethune and Deloach is going to be who's backing those two guys up? Who's backing those two guys? William, thank you for the $5. He says, I hope Norvell go after Birch from South Carolina as well. There's some talk that Oregon is the team that got him to hit the portal, which makes sense for me because Oregon head coach is Dan Lanning, and I know Georgia was recruiting him extremely hard. And a lot of people at one point thought he was going to Georgia. Remember, this is a 5-star guy you're talking about in Birch. It makes sense to me that Oregon would be the team that got him into the portal. A lot of people are expecting he goes to Oregon, but I would love for us to get in the mix if we could. But I think that's Oregon as of right now. Appreciate you, William, for the $5.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
That's a great question. I was asking somebody the other day, Tyler. I don't know what's going on with USC. They actually had a decent year. Beat Clemson, beat Tennessee. What they finish? 8 wins or something like that? And then you just everybody that's worth anything in that program has hit the portal. I don't know what's going on. But who's backing up our starting linebackers? That's what I want to know. We assume it's still Lundy. I would assume it's still DJ Lundy in the mix there. DJ, your top 3 guys are still, I guess, DJ, obviously Bethune and Deloach. Does Dix come back and give somebody a run? I would probably at this point say no, I don't think so. But it would never be against anybody proving me wrong there. It would never be a problem with anybody proving me wrong there. But Dix is going to be back, and I'm interested to see, until he hits the portal, which I would not rule out I would not rule out a Steven Dix in the portal before the beginning of the season. Blake Nicholson, I see everybody mentioning Blake. And yeah, go watch him in the All-Star. There's one thing about Blake that you should be very intrigued about. Not just his instincts, which is always key for linebackers. Just the fact that Blake Nicholson can move. He can run sideline to sideline, and that's what we've needed. That's been my knock on guys like DJ Lundy and Steven Dix. They cannot run sideline to sideline. They are old school backers that almost don't even exist in today's game. Blake Nicholson isn't that. So as we talk about the rotation, I don't know if true freshman gets in the mix there, but does Omar Graham get in that mix? Brandon Gant is, and shout out to Brandon Gant, because Brandon Gant might be my favorite player on this entire team. And not just because he's from Polk County, but really because he's a guy who has made a niche for himself and he's excelled in it. Brandon Gant would have been a guy, I think, if you asked anybody, he would have been a leading candidate to hit the portal. Because where does he fit? We've watched him at safety. He's not fluid enough to be a safety. He has way better instincts at linebacker. He's always around the ball, and he hits hard. Me personally, y'all have been following me for any amount of time. I was calling for Gant to move to backer 2 years ago. They finally did it, but I was calling 2 years ago. They did it 2 years too late, or a year too late, whatever. But even at his small size, he's probably a 190-pound linebacker. And I'm interested to see how big they can get him this offseason. Brandon Gant's in there. He makes tackles. He is around the football. Brandon Gant, he's on special teams. He's making plays. He's carved out a nice niche in this team, and you can do nothing but respect that, because he didn't get down when he got moved out of that DB rotation. He didn't, he didn't want to, and I can't speak for him because I'm pretty sure he had thoughts about, I'm pretty sure it crossed Brandon Gant's mind of hitting the portal. I'm sure it did, but he didn't. Instead, you know what he did? He signed with Battles and Collective, so he's locked in. And for a guy that's 190 pounds at backer, you can't tell by the way he plays. Now, he can't play every down at that size, and I think we all get that. But man, again, he's probably my favorite player on the team is Brandon Gant for all those reasons I just named. So maybe he's in the linebacker mix. I don't know who that fourth guy is. I'm pretty positive it's Bethune, Deloach, and Bethune in the top three. My guess is we would need to find the fourth guy. Maybe it starts off with Gant. Maybe one of the freshmen. Because you do get DeMarco Ward too. Again, that's not a guy I would expect anything from initially, but you got him. Got Omar Graham, DeMarco Ward, Blake Nicholson, Steven Dix. I don't expect us to target anybody in the portal. But maybe the right guy hits. If Gant was somehow able to, I'm reading y'all's comment. If Gant was able to get up to 210, 215 would be the key spot. I think if he can get to 215, I know you're like 5 pounds, this might be not that big a difference. And maybe you're right. But 215, man, if he can like Tyler's saying, if he can somehow transform his body, then I think you're working with something very dangerous at linebacker there. I'm not so sure though he can do it. Honestly. Not so sure he can do it. So I'm interested to see. Somebody said Demore Tolan. Now, if you don't know who Tolan is, he's a linebacker, I believe, out of Orlando. And I guess he is in the portal now, which I didn't know. And if that is true, which again, I'm not denying anything you guys are telling me. I just haven't seen it yet. FSU should pursue. FSU should definitely pursue Tolan if he is in the portal. Well, that's always been a knock on a majority of our. We do need more coverage backers. But I like our guys, man. I like our guys. I have no doubts in Storms. I just don't know if Gant can literally gain, again, he's 190. So we're asking Gant to gain 20, 30 pounds. I don't know if that's realistic. I know it's easy for us fans to say. I just don't know if it I just don't know if it's realistic, man. I just don't know if it's realistic. Let's move on to DB, man, so we can get out of here because my voice is starting to lose me. So that's the key. DB, man. Well, you might as well put Cypress at one of those corner spots. What do you think? What is Cypress? More the boundary or the field guy? What do you guys think? I think Cypress plays. I don't know. I think Cypress plays Ronaldo Green's role this year. But now the real question gonna come in: does AZ take the step to take the job from Ronaldo? It's not out of the realm of possibility. Or did they just let AZ back up Cypress, which is fine because he'll probably still get plenty of reps. I think Ronaldo Green is, at least as far as this year goes, he's earned his spot. But there's a whole off season to be had. You just brought in the top DB in the portal. The ceiling's extremely high for Azariah Thomas. You brought in, 5 DBs, right? From the high school recruiting. I think there's going to be a lot of competition. Omarion Cooper, I got to believe that number 13 is going to be looking to have a bounce back junior year. So I don't think he's just going to lay down and allow people to take his job or not compete with these other guys. And hell, I'm giving Cypress the job, but as far as I'm concerned, Cypress's job isn't confirmed or he's not penciled in. He was great at Virginia, but you're at Florida State now, guy. Time to compete, right? Time to compete. So I still believe in what is DBU, and I still believe in the guys that we have. Strictly talking about corner right now, Kevin Knowles, Greedy Vance. I think they were Greedy Vance. I think Greedy Vance surprised a lot of the people this year. I think most people would tell you. I'm pretty sure Jarvis Brownlee. I'm not going to pick on Jarvis too much, but I am going to get my shots off. But I think a lot of people would have. I'm pretty sure Jarvis Brownlee played a lot of snaps for Louisville. But I think most FSU fans would tell you they liked Greedy Vance over Brownlee. A lot of people were really upset that we couldn't keep Jarvis Brownlee. And they were telling people, well, we lost our best cornerback. And he was I don't think anybody at this point is saying that Jarvis Brownlee was the best cornerback on the team. Ronaldo Green was an upgrade in every way over Jarvis Brownlee. Maybe Jarvis Brownlee would have played better against over Omarion Cooper, but don't know. And you can't even forget Jerry Jones. And I knocked Jones a lot, but by the end of the year, Jones made a big jump, like Matt just said. Well, he's saying next year, I guess. But Jerry played great football by the end of the year. He still had his moments during the year. Don't get me wrong. But by the end of the year, I think Jerry Jones was playing very good football. We got guys. We're not going to miss. I don't think anybody can come in that corner room for sure. Because I think you add Edwin Joseph to that slot room. I think that's where they want him at, maybe. He could maybe even play on the outside. I think Kirkland, they want him as one of the corners. Rawls is another one. There's going to be a bunch of bodies. His question is going to be, it's kind of like O-line. It's just a little bit more concerning. You got a bunch of guys in that room, but not all of them have played great. Not all of them have been healthy to play great. Can it all come together? You've upped the competition in that room for sure. What cream out of those DBs rise to the top? I think it's a crapshoot. I think Cypress gets one of the starting spots. Again, I still say this ain't Virginia. I'm not sure what competition he had at Virginia, but he gonna have some competition now. But with that said, I still think Cypress. If I had to pencil in my 2 corners, Cypress and Ronaldo Green, bagging them up would be AZ. And maybe 13, maybe 7. One of those 2. I got to see how Omarion Cooper bounces back. Right now, I'd probably say Jerry Jones. And then at that slot, I would probably still keep it Greedy Vance and Kevin Knowles. I think those are your best options. I'm not so sure if you can add another guy to that mix. Maybe, I don't know. Can Jerry play the nickel? Not too sure. Most of them are playing 9. Well, I think they want Kirkland at corner, but I know he played safety in high school. But I said this before about Kirkland. He in a camp last year, he covered Travis Hunter one-on-one and did a real good job against him. I think that's why they want him at corner. And then that's true too by K-Jack here. We got to see who the position coach is, man. Who's coaching these boys up next year? We still don't know. That's going to be interesting. We know Brownlee was a liability. I mean, go watch the Louisville game. Go watch what Johnny did to Brownlee. Oh my God, Brownlee had to be embarrassed. Shit, on Jones, he only got better. I said that. He ain't fooling me. He only got better at the end of the season. He ain't fooling me. I got you, Herb. We'll see with Jones, man. I give credit where credit is due. By the end of the year, Jerry Jones was playing good football. So we'll see. Can he be more consistent? Can you start the same way? Can you start well and finish well, or start well and finish great? That's the question with Jerry. You're right. We don't say his name. I shouldn't have said his name, but number 12 at Louisville, y'all know. And he's coming back, by the way. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Jerry. But and now let's move to safety. I think safety is the way more concerning position out of the DBs. I think the corners are pretty much, again, there's just a bunch of options, great options at that. Again, you added Cypress. Ronaldo Green, I think most people would say was the most consistent corner we had. People like, Greedy Vance played well. Knowles probably could play better. But I think our sophomores kind of went through a slump. Knowles and Amari Cooper, two guys who played really well as freshmen, did not play as well as sophomores. I think that's just junior bounce back year for those two. But the safety room is the room. And I see you, Irv, with a $10 donation. Appreciate you, Irv. He says, great job tonight, Polk. Hey, no. Great job by you guys coming in, showing love and supporting and keeping the conversation going. If you haven't noticed, off topic here for a second before we finish this stream up. If you haven't noticed, you guys keep the stream going. I just sit here and answer y'all's questions, reply to y'all's opinions, and give my own. Not fans, because I don't call y'all fans. The supporters of this channel keep these streams moving for 2-3 hours. Because I just we literally sit down and have a conversation. So like I say this all the time, the most interactive show on YouTube. So this is what you're looking for. This is where you need to come. Again, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I didn't do a great job. Y'all do a great job. Because y'all the one who keep the conversation going. You guys do. Appreciate you, Irv Gotti, man. I already know who you want, Irv, so I got you.
Yeah, get more money. Yeah, get more money. Yeah.
Again, so the question is safety. As of right now, it's Dent, it's Shaheem. I'm intrigued by Shaheem a lot. I like Shaheem. I think he's a hell of a player. But you do have the question, is he a full-time guy? Is Shaheem a guy who just excels as a rotation piece? Can Shaheem Brown move to being the full-time safety? I don't know that. Tyler says, look like Jackson will stay in Miami. Hey, do what you got to do. I ain't losing no sleeps off of Daryl Jackson, to be quite honest with you. We already addressed that one. I'm interested to see, can he transfer form or move into the full-time starter role and be just as effective, if not more so? Akeem Dent might be just who he is at this point. And it is what it is there. Again, I don't know if Dent has another rung that he can ascend to. I think he might just be who he is. And that's fine. But we rotated a lot of safeties last year. We keep speaking on that. There were, and Shaheem played a lot. There were times they would move Jamie to nickel, and Akeem Dent and Shaheem Brown would be your back end safeties. They did that a lot, especially by the end of the year. That was almost a featured thing they did in our secondary. The biggest problem I have with our safety position is I have no idea who our depth pieces are. You lost Sidney Williams to the transfer portal. He could have been a valuable piece. You're losing Jarquez McClellan just to eligibility. He was a senior. He's out. Sam McCall, transfer portal. He's at Texas A&M. You got Travis J. We're going to be putting a lot of faith in Travis J this offseason, guys. I'm not knocking Travis J. I'm extremely interested to see what Travis J does. I actually think he's a better safety than a corner. He got exposed at corner. I think Travis J's played his best ball at safety. But again, he hasn't played football the entire year. Travis J was on the scout team, practice squad, whatever you want to call it, in a black shirt against an academic issue. And even if Travis J is a full go next year, there's still 3 safeties. Are we really going to put a lot of faith into Conrad Hussey? I'm not saying he can't play, but he's a freshman. I'm not against the freshman playing, but he's got to prove it. But you got Conrad Hussey. I don't think Edwin Joseph is going to move to safety. But I see you, Sam, but I definitely think Conrad Hussey is going to be in the mix. Quindarius Jones is the guy that I think they like at safety. I could be wrong there. But again, that's another freshman. That's another. So I don't know. Are we putting that much stuff? And then, Hussey plays at St. Thomas Aquinas. If you don't know the rules at St. Thomas Aquinas, they can't early enroll. So I don't think you can put a lot of stock into Conrad Hussey, especially if he can't early enroll. It's the same thing with Julian Armella, if you guys remember. St. Thomas Aquinas kids, they cannot early enroll. They don't do that there. They don't do that at that school. I really want them to go to a portal and get me a guy, because I think we have a lot of questions at safety. And that includes Travis J, who I know we want to see him be great, but the evidence since he's been at Florida State doesn't bode well for him. And again, you get past the top 2 safeties, I have no idea what we have on the back end. You get past Akeem Dent and Shaheem Brown, it gets kind of scary. You see what everybody's naming in the chat. We're naming a bunch of freshmen because we don't have anything. I think they got to address it at some point. The biggest worry for me is safety. I mean, we low-key lost. We lost, 4 safeties in 1 year. Jamie Robinson to the NFL, Sidney Williams, Sam McCall to the portal, and McClellan just to eligibility. I don't know if he's going to try his hand at the NFL or not, but we lost 4 safeties in 1 year. I don't know how we rebound with that without going to the portal, right? So we definitely got to hit the portal, I think, for the safety position. We just got to get another we have to get another able body with experience and that's ready to come in and play. And I don't know if you can count on that from your freshman. Can you imagine if Jamie came back? We'd be 100% set. And I ain't even had to tell too many lies, but we're going to start getting to these lies. But an early January lie tonight, I think most people would agree with this when you look at this team and how it's constructed, and we just went over the roster. Is it not ACC championship or bust? And that's early. By the time we get to the season, that's what's up. I'm glad to see that he's going to try his hand in the NFL, so I ain't mad at that for sure. That's what's up. And what's up, Norville Central? How you doing? But by the time the season starts, I'll be honest with y'all. People might be talking playoffs with this team. And I don't even think that's crazy talk. I know the rivals in here will troll and they'll say we crazy. Let's be honest. It all starts with the ACC, but you look at this team. Look at the team. We have one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the conference. Drake may be the only other guy. Top backfield, probably. Hell of an O-line coming back. Maybe the best receiving core in the ACC. Probably the best D-line in the ACC. If we can figure out this back end of this defense, I mean, what's keeping us out of the college football playoff, if we really being honest? I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. Next year comes down to one team and one team only, if we're being 100% honest. And I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but I will finish this stream up with this. And I will say, we're talking about kicker. FSU did get some kickers out of the portal, and some of these other guys, Fitz's job isn't sealed. But I'm going to finish this stream with this right here. Next year comes down to one team and one team only. And what do you guys think that team is? Because we're going to play them most likely 2 times. That just gave it away. Thank you, Adangbe. Next year comes to one team and one team only. We can lose to LSU and still make the playoff. We need to beat Clemson. We have to beat Clemson at least once, because we're going to probably play them twice. Now, you can't lose to LSU and Clemson. So my point is, Boston College. If you beat LSU, you have to at least beat Clemson one of the 2 times. You see it with Ohio State, Michigan this year. Both teams made the playoff. You saw it with Georgia and Alabama last year. If Clemson fulfills their end of the bargain and they're a top 5-ish team, as long as they don't have terrible games like they did against South Carolina and Notre Dame this year, assuming Clemson fulfills their end of the bargain, we only got to beat them once. But we got to run the table with everybody else. But at least to win the ACC, next year is all about beating Clemson. It's time. What do they beat us now? 7, 8 years or something stupid like that? It's time to beat Clemson. You beat Clemson next year, and everything else comes, in my opinion, there's not a team else on that schedule I'm worried about, except for LSU. But again, to my opinion, you can lose to LSU, but you got to beat Clemson. If you lose to LSU, you probably got to beat Clemson twice. Right? If you beat LSU, you just got to beat Clemson one time. And we don't play NC State in the regular season next year. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not worried about NC State anyway. They're losing most of their top end guys. There's not a team next year that I'm really worried about. Are we really worried about Florida? They've had 25 players or whatever it is hit the transfer portal. Offensive line will not be the same. That's the thing that kept them afloat last year. They will not be the same. We damn sure not worried about Miami. Who are we worried about in the ACC? Like, who are we worried about? Clemson. All about Clemson. And I know they're working with a new QB, but I actually think that QB is actually pretty good, personally. I think that QB is actually pretty good. So we'll see, though. He has to put it all together. But I think he's not that bad. But you look at that schedule, you tell me who you're worried about. So, Pitt is on the road, but again, is Pitt's running back going to the NFL? Like, some of the players that made Pitt good, I think probably leaving. So, again, you're looking at a team that's returning everybody. Speaking of us, we're returning Travis, Benson, Verse, Scott, Bethune, Deloach. I'm just honest with y'all, man. The lies are going to start. They're starting early. And again, and I'm telling you right now in January, it's ACC or bust for me. But the playoffs are not some pipe dream. It is not crazy for Florida State fans to think playoffs, in my opinion, at all. We were 10-3 this year. A half away from being 11-2 if you beat NC State. Next year's schedule ain't this year's schedule. But with all that said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. It was dope kicking it with y'all on my Saturday. It's getting a little late. 12 o'clock on the Eastern time. So we're going to get up out of here, man. So hit that like button on the way out if you did not hit it on the way in. Comment, subscribe to the channel. As always, man, share the videos as we continue to try to grow this community, this platform. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before the beginning of the season. I'm trying to get there before the end, but we fell short. I did not do it. I'll have to do that next time. I forgot about the bowl sticker. Don't let me forget next time. We will get that done. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Share the videos. And as always, this is your boy Polk over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles, but lie in a classy way, because it's time. And again, I don't even know if we're telling lies at this point. We might be telling absolute facts and truths. And it's an early off season, but lie, stay classy, and it's go Noles. We out here.